Welcome back to Full Circle with Mukali. It's Monday morning. I hope you have started your day with as much energy as you're trying to just, send by those vibrations your way. 111 that is our SMS line. Please tell us where you're watching us from. Be part of the conversation, sending your questions, sending your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Switch TV KE on Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. It's Mukali Mary on Twitter and Instagram, Mukali Mary on Facebook, and we'll be looking through all of that. Now, I told you today is a power show and it's all about you and creating a better, more fulfilling life for yourself. So just sit back and relax. It's time for Advice Circle. We're talking about the 7 steps to an extraordinary life. Wouldn't you want that for yourself? Because I know I want that for me. And we have Dr. Reuben West in studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And just before we get started, you have something for our audiences today.
Yes.
So please tell them what that is so that you know you need to just be here because, like I told you, this is life-changing.
So what I have is I'm going to be talking about my book, The Destination Mastery, the 7 Steps to an Extraordinary Life. Mm-hmm. But I also have a free giveaway.
Yes.
Now, the free giveaway, I could tell you what it is right now, but I'll probably tell you at the end to make sure they stay and listen.
Yes. So we're talking about the 7 steps to an extraordinary life. And just before we get into that, who are you? What do you do? How do you introduce yourself to the people?
Sure. My name is Dr. Reuben West. I'm a global speaker. I'm an entrepreneur, and I motivate people through, just like your last guest, helping them discover what their purpose is and then how do they pursue it. And I believe these 7 steps are how they do it.
Okay, great. Yeah. Are we ready to get into it?
We're ready.
I am eager. 7, guys. So 1.
Step one is directing your thoughts.
Okay.
One of the things I realize is that most people have some place they want to go, something they want to do, but they spend most of their time thinking about what they don't have. They spend most of the time thinking about the problems that they face, and they don't spend the time looking at what they do have. And so if you're going to find your purpose, if you're going to live an extraordinary life, you have to focus on what you do have, because most successful people are successful not because of their resources, but they're successful because of their resourcefulness. And they discover that by looking at what they do have and who they can connect with.
Ooh. It's inevitable to think about the things that I don't have.
Yes.
Or how I would have done something different today. Or how I could have, made a better decision yesterday.
Exactly.
So it's inevitable somehow to think about that. How do I separate that then and realize that, that happened and maybe tomorrow will be better, and just encourage myself to just forge on forward?
I love what you said. Some things are inevitable because they just pop in our mind. We don't ask them to, they just happen.
Yeah.
But directing your thoughts is consciously thinking and focusing on where you want to be and where you want to go. For instance, people drive to work. They're on their way to work. They have a cup of coffee in their hand. Somebody bumps them. They hit a bump. They spill it on their clothes.
Yes.
They're upset.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock in the morning, they're talking about it. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're still talking about it. At 6 in the evening, they're still talking about it. And you know what they say?
Yeah.
I had a bad day. Right?
Yeah.
Now write this down. There's no such thing as a bad day.
Okay.
There's only bad moments that we choose to nurse all day. If they would have let it go at 9 o'clock when it happened and say it happened and I'm going to something else, their day would have been completely different, but they focused on what went wrong instead of what went right.
Forgetting that there's nothing we can do about what already happened.
There's nothing that we could do.
Okay. That is one. I love it.
Yeah.
So work on me.
Yeah.
Note to self. I hope you're writing this down for yourself. So number 2.
Interesting. We have to work with faith and gratitude.
Okay.
Right. Number 2 is faith and gratitude. And the reason that is important is because you're never going to take the step if you don't believe you can take it. See, faith is, Dr. King said, faith is taking the first step when we can't see the whole staircase.
That's true.
So most people are waiting around until they see the end. Right? They want to see how it's going to end. Don't focus on the last step, focus on the next step. That's why he said taking the first step when you can't see the whole staircase. You just take the step that you could take. But most of the time we want to see how it's all going to work out. And if you understand faith, God wouldn't teach us that if we weren't going to have to use it. So most people say, I'll get started want to have all the resources. And God says, I'll give you the resources when you get started. So that faith step is critical. Then gratitude is being thankful for what you have. Now, why is that important? Is because it puts our mind in a different space. See, when we're looking at what we don't have, we're probably not going to take action. When we're looking at what we don't have, we're going to see problems.
Yeah.
But when we're thankful with gratitude, we're looking at what we do have. I'm thankful for this day. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for my life. It puts us in a different frame of mind to take action. Charles Udall said, in life, we will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. So depending on how you look at it, you either see the problem or the opportunity.
Attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude.
What happens to the kind of people who like to lay it down? You know, the well-laid plans. This is how I work. This is how I'm wired. This is how I like to see a vision, to have a vision of that in my head.
And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
but that's the plan. The problem is we have to be adaptable. We have to be adjustable. And what happens is people lay out the plans, and when it doesn't go that way, they get stuck.
Yes.
But there's a group of individuals. See, when you become an entrepreneur, the last guest talked about the Wright brothers. They didn't know what the plane was going to do. As a matter of fact, the plane only stayed in the air for 7 seconds. But on that was the basis of the modern aviation. But they just did it. They just stepped out there. And most people are waiting till they see it all laid out before they take any action. And the problem is life doesn't usually unfold that way.
Great.
Plus, we change.
That's true.
You know, I'm a motivational speaker. I worked in surgery for 29 years. Right now, I'm the president of Financially Fit Africa. So we have different modes in life. And so some of the things that we have to realize is not that we're doing anything wrong. It's that we've been doing the right thing too long. That season is over. And now it's time for a new season in your life. And you have to be willing to take that step.
Courage, faith, and gratitude.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is number 3?
Number 3 is choosing the right associations. Think of it this way. I'm sitting here right now and I'm limited to everything I know. The minute me and you team up together, I have access to everything I know, and now I have access to everything you know.
That's true.
Just by association. Most of the time people, they have this saying, and I don't know if they have it here in Kenya, but my mom used to say it, and she'd say, if you want anything done right, you have to do it yourself. You know, you want anything right, you have to do it yourself. Well,
Yeah.
Jesus had 12 disciples. He didn't try and do it himself, right? At some point, we have to team up with other people that can help us because they have skills, talents, gifts, and abilities that we may not have. And in the minute we team up, we have access to that information. Even businesses are striking strategic partnerships to help them accomplish their mission.
That is so true. And in the process of just choosing the people you want to be associated with, I think it's important for you to also find out if they are on the same path as you are. You'll get associated to some people who might just drag you down.
Most of the time we're associated with people because of longevity. In other words, we've been friends since school,
Familiar.
since we were young. But to be something different may require you to do something different. And something different may be letting some of those people go. There's some people in your life that if you're going to move ahead, you got to let them go. And you have to make a phone call and say, hey, look, I'm making some changes in my life. And if you don't hear from me, you're one of them. You know, I made that change. I mean, I got to move forward.
Like, cut it.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. We're taking notes. We're
I
here
hope
to
you
be
are.
schooled. We're being schooled today.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one.
The next one is you have to sacrifice for what's necessary. Oftentimes when we go to the next level, there's some things that we're going to have to do, but there's probably some things we're going to have to stop doing. There's probably some things that we're going to have to release. Like I talked about those friends that we knew for a long time. Some of them you'll never move forward if you maintain those associations. And let me be honest with you, moving on is simple. It's what you're leaving behind that's difficult. Moving on is simple. It's what you're leaving behind is difficult. That's why, because you have those ties, you have those bonds, you have those connections.
Yeah.
You have that familiarity. But like T.D. Jakes said, if it's familiar, it's your past.
Okay.
See, the future is not familiar.
It's not familiar.
So if what you're used to and comfortable with is working with things that's familiar, yeah, that's your past. But in order to get to a new level, a level of mastery in your life, you're going to have to take on some things that you're not familiar with.
It's a process.
Exactly. It's a process.
It definitely is a process. It's not easy because there's fear that always holds you back. Most of the time, you'll be like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if I'm going to find another husband. I don't know if I'm going to find another, job or other friends and stuff like that. How do you move from this space of fear to just be like,
I love that you asked me that. The question is, how do you move past your fear?
Yeah.
You have to have some goals and dreams that are bigger than your fears. See, if the fear is bigger than the goal or dream, you're never going to move past it.
That's true.
I mean, the audacity of the Wright brothers putting a plane in the air, and they've never done it before. That's some faith. That's some belief. That was a goal. But most people, because they direct their thoughts to the fear becomes stronger. Whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. If you focus on the fear the longest, that's going to be the strongest. But the people who focus on the faith, the people who focus on the goal, that becomes the strongest, and there is no fear that holds them back because they're looking at what can happen, not what has happened.
But when your belief is bigger, then you're able to fly away and just be something totally different from what you are running away from.
Exactly. And that's the key. If your goal is not bigger than the fear, and think about this, faith is believing in what you do not see.
That's true.
But fear is believing in what you do not see. So basically, they're the same.
Okay.
They run
Just
on
say that again. I think
faith is believing in what you do not see.
Yes.
But fear is believing in what you do not see.
Okay.
So they operate on the same track. So you can't operate them both at the same time. One of them has to be stronger than the other. If the faith is bigger than the fear, it's going to push the fear back. If the fear is bigger than the faith, it's going to push the faith back. So most people don't take steps, even though they say they have faith.
Yeah.
The fear is bigger than their faith because that's where they put their focus. And so it pushes them back. If you're going to take a step forward and do something that you've never done before, there was a time where you had never been on TV before, but your goal was so big that you got over, what am I going to say and how am I going to look and what if they think I sound funny? It's irrelevant because you're here to help change people's lives.
Yeah.
And so since you're here to help change people's lives, how you look, how you sound, whether people think you sound funny is irrelevant because the goal is a life change for somebody else. And that's bigger than any fear you've ever had.
Hashtag hope over fear.
Hey, hope over fear. Faith over fear. Hashtag faith over fear. Yes.
I like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. The next one we have to look at is redefining failure. See, I'm going to say this, and I want everybody to catch this. Plans fail.
Yeah.
People quit. The mistake they say is, I failed. You didn't fail. The plan failed.
Okay.
See, when you realize that it wasn't you that failed, the plan failed, then it's okay. You just come up with another plan. You come up with another process. Thomas Edison said, I found thousands of ways that didn't work. He said, I didn't fail. He was trying to invent the light bulb. Our automobile industry was founded on Henry Ford, who came up with the Model T Ford. And so everybody knows about the Model T. You know what they don't know about? The Model A, the Model B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all the way down to Model T, where it was able to be mass produced. Now, if he said, I created the Model A Ford and it failed, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
But he realized that it was an adjustment. That plan failed, make the next adjustment. And so you can't get caught up in the mistake or what seems like a failure. You have to realize that as long as you keep going, you didn't fail. Chinese proverb, get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8.
That is so
You've got to get back up again. You got to work again.
So stop tying yourself with the things that have failed.
Because
those are things that fail.
Exactly, not you.
Not you.
See, and that's the difference. When you direct your thoughts the right way, see, all of these things intertwine.
Yeah.
When you direct your thoughts the right way, you realize it wasn't me that failed, it was
That's
this
true.
plan that failed. So champions are known by their triumphs, but they were developed by their trials. There's no one who've gotten to the top levels in life that didn't have a setback. It just doesn't happen. But most of the time when we read their stories or we hear about them, we come in on the last chapter. We didn't come in on the process that they had to go through. Muhammad Ali said, I hated every moment in the gym. He hated it. He said, but I decided suffer now and live the rest of my life as a champion. There are some things you're going to have to go through, but don't just go through them, grow through them so that you can get to the place where you need to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh, It is a fire morning, people. And just so you know, we have a giveaway for you. We'll be telling you just before we go on a break and how you can walk away with that. But right now, though, let's just get back into it. What's the next one?
You have to have the will.
Okay.
You have to have the will to succeed. So many people make the decision, but there's a difference between making the decision and having the determination. It's a difference. See, a lot of people want to try it, but when it gets hard, they quit.
Yeah.
When it gets frustrating, they give up. And let me tell you, some people have already quit before they get started. And let me tell you what they'll say.
Okay.
I'm going to go down there one more time. And if they don't hire me this time, I'm not going back. Well, that's your fault. See, because maybe they would have hired you the next time.
Yes.
I'm going to try this business one more time, and if I don't get the connections, I'm done with it. One of the things we have to learn is there's chronos, that's the chronological time, and then kairos, which is that God-given ordained moment for us to move into that next season of our life. Okay. And so most of the time what we're trying to do is we're trying to kick in the door. Let me in. I was taught never kick in the door. Wait for God to open it and then just walk through it. Now, don't kick in the door. Wait for God to open it and just walk through it. But here's what you have to do. You have to work while you're waiting. The reason there's a delay oftentimes is there's some new knowledge you have to gain. There's some new insight you have to have. There's some work that you have to put in. And so let's just take professional athletes. Let's say professional soccer.
Okay.
We see them on the field. But can you imagine all the games they've played throughout their whole life before they ever got paid? When they were kids, when they were teenagers, with young adults, all those games, they were practicing, they were training. They didn't just walk into the professional soccer stadium and start getting paid. But we never look at all those years, because it was probably 10, 15 years that they've been training all their life, and now they get the opportunity. How many of us are willing to put that kind of work in to what our dream is, to what our destiny is? No, we want to just walk in the door right now. No, there's some steps that you have to take, and there's some lessons that you have to learn. And the best plan is, watch this, learn the lesson at the lowest level possible.
Okay.
Learn the lesson at the lowest level possible. Maybe you have to get an entry job and learn some lessons there. How to communicate, how to coordinate, how to take leadership positions without pay, how to take direction without being upset. There's some lessons that you're going to have to learn, because the worst thing you could do is get this top position, this high position, and then they have to let you go because there's some lessons that you didn't learn. So learn those lessons at the lowest level possible, and then when the door opens, you'll be able to walk in.
You need to do your time.
Yes, exactly.
You need to put in the work. There's no microwave.
There's no, not to success.
Not to success.
There's no microwave to success. Yeah, exactly.
So when you're feeling frustrated as you wait, you need to be working.
You need to be working, and you have to direct your thoughts to, what am I gaining? What am I learning? See, most people have an issue in life. They have a problem. They have a setback. And you know what the question they ask? Why me? Why did this happen to me? Why did I have to go through this? That's the wrong question. The question is, what was I supposed to learn from this? See, that way you could turn your wounds into workshops.
Yes.
You could teach people. See, in life, in school, we get the lesson and then the test. We get the lesson, then the test. In life, we get the test and then the lesson if we ask the right questions. If you ask, why me, you never get the lesson. If you ask, what am I supposed to learn from this? Now you get the lesson. And now that lesson will help you, number one, apply it again when it comes up again. And number two, teach it to someone else. What I've found is life keeps giving you the same test until you pass it.
Okay.
And so you have to sit down and say, why am I going through this? Some people end up in the same relationship over and over again. Different face, different name, same type of person. You know why? Because they say, why did it happen to me? And not, what am I supposed to learn from this mistake? So you have to learn. And what you're probably going to have to change is yourself. Even when it comes to relationships, if you want to change the mate, you have to change the bait.
That's
like
true.
There's something you're using to attract that person. And
Yes.
if you don't change that, you're going to keep attracting the same type of person over and over and over again. You have to direct your thoughts to the right area.
Great. The next one.
The last one, step number 7, is you have to redefine your authentic self. I believe, like your last guest said, all of us were created on purpose, for a purpose, and with a purpose.
Okay.
But most of the time, We don't know what that purpose is. That's why we always ask kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because they have an idea already. But what happens is most of the time life beats it out of us. Life takes it away from us. And sometimes we have to spend time in quiet contemplation, rediscovering what we were created to do. And I'm going to suggest that there's going to be some people out there who don't know what that is. And they're saying, Dr. West, I know I'm created to do something, but I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Let me give you a suggestion. What do other people say you're great at?
Ooh.
See, because the reason they say you're great is because you're making an impact.
Yes.
The way you do hair, the way you cook, the way you work with children, the way you work with elderly. See, your purpose shows up when you do it. And most of the time people make the mistake and they chase money. Money follows purpose, not the other way around. Say that again. Money follows your purpose, not the other way around. So when you're chasing the money and not chasing your purpose, you lose out because money follows your purpose. Why? Because you were created to do those things. Now, just because you were created to do it, like Michael Jackson, the singer, I believe he was created to do music.
Yep.
You saw him doing music when he was a kid. He still had to train. He still had to put in work. He still had to grow. He still had to have the right associations. He still had to direct his thoughts. Just because it's your purpose doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It just means that that's what you were created to do.
Dr. West, you're going on a very short commercial break, and this is the time.
Yes.
This is the time to tell them a giveaway, and I'm going to ask them a question. If you answer it right, then you get the gifts.
Yes.
What are we giving them today? How many are we giving out today?
You know, I have one special book.
Yes.
I have one special book, and I'm going to give it to the person who answers the right question. I have one good gift. And then I have, they can also get a free gift at my website, but we could talk about that. But
Great.
for one person.
We've talked about 7 ways to, create an extraordinary life for yourself. Just give me 3. 3. If you were paying attention, 1114441, that is our SMS line. Send that in, Switch TV KE on Instagram, Switch TV Kenya on Facebook. We'll be right back after this break.